I'm talking fraud. And this is real, people. You need to see this. This may not be what you expected to see, but it's what you need to see. You need to watch this video. All of it.
Dozens of towns on the GOP site are listed as if no one voted. Most of the media is simply ignoring it.
We have to make sure that this election is not stolen from us.
Voter fraud in Maine, then is investigating a reality check that you won't see anywhere else.
They even want to try and rig the election at the polling booths, where so many cities are corrupt and voter fraud is all too common.
Okay, now Donald Trump may be an all-talk, small-handed nut job, but he's right that there is voter fraud. Of course there's going to be some fraud in a country with about 400 million people. Rotten people. But, of course, it's not the type of fraud that Trump is talking about, because he's a bullshitter. Did you know that there's been proven election fraud? It was 4 years ago, the last election. Here's the important part of this video. A lot of people don't know this. The news didn't make a big deal out of this, but I was able to find some rare footage. First some cell phone footage, and then it makes the news. I never saw this until I just looked it up yesterday. This is what real election fraud looks like in the United States.
Hey! You can't do that! You can't do that! I'm not moving forward until we have a camera rolling. Hey! Hey! You can't do that! Remove the chair! Remove the chair! Remove the chair! Remove the chair! Remove the chair!
Only based on rules. Yeah. I got name, address, and your license number. Is it only clear?
Yeah.
Okay, what is that for? Your address, your phone number, your license number. Get off there. Get off there.
Right to assemble!
They shut the caucus down and said no votes are going to count.
We can now confirm there are some cases where some candidate supporters are attempting to change the rules of the caucuses in order to manipulate the delegate process.
Well, we have been closely watching the delegate process, while most of the media is simply ignoring it. The selection of delegates, that will determine the Republican candidate for president. Tonight, we're going to show you what went down in one precinct. This is the St. Charles, Missouri caucus. This is where voters come to become delegates and then move on to the congressional district conventions and the state GOP convention. Now, the first problem started when a rule was made that no one would be allowed to record what took place. No rules committee was ever formed. Even so, police were called in. Take a look. So no videos allowed, but with cell phones in hand, a lot of audio was recorded. Eugene Dokes, instead of accepting nominations for a caucus chair, as the rules state, instead he appoints a chairman of his choosing. And the crowd, well, they don't like it at all. The place goes nuts. Dokes then decides that he's going to adjourn the meeting. The problem there? The chairman cannot adjourn the meeting without 2/3 support of the assembly. Brent Stafford decided to reconvene the caucus in the parking lot.
We have to have a roster. We have to turn in a roster. Okay? So right now, we have to be quick about it. Don't get us on before the SWAT team comes.
Before the SWAT team comes, he said, and police did come. Within minutes, Brent Stafford was arrested. I talked with Brent via Skype about his arrest.
They took me away from the crowd and handcuffed me. And requests for answers of what am I being charged with were met with answers that we'll tell you later.
The cops charged Stafford with trespassing. Now, here's the deal. St. Charles police had no business arresting Stafford. Not only was the crowd not out of control, but they were actually acting in exact accordance with the rules.
Mitt Romney is back on track after winning the Maine caucuses.
And then they say, oh, there's no voter fraud in our country. There's no one. No, there's no voter fraud. Take a look at St. Louis. Take a look at Philadelphia.
Even though Governor Romney was already declared the winner, the numbers that the state GOP in Maine are reporting are, according to caucus chairman, incorrect. Take, for instance, Waldo County. 138 votes were cast. In the official Maine GOP tallies, however, the results from all but one of those communities were given as a series of zeros, meaning the official tally shows that no one voted.
Look at certain residents in 3 of Maine's counties are being treated right now as if they do not exist.
On every occasion, the votes that were lost were Ron Paul votes. In one case, the votes were actually transferred from paper to electronics, and the lady doing the transfer was a Mitt Romney person.
Proven election fraud. Of course, it's not the type of fraud that Trump is talking about. This is not like Al Gore in 2000 at all. It was too close to call after the votes came in. And it turns out there were some strange things going on in Florida with not counting certain votes. And everything that Al Gore and Bush did was legal. Although I can't really say that for sure for the governor of Florida. What Trump is doing here is he's predicting that there will be election fraud in advance of the election. He's predicting this. And that it will be against him. See, that's unprecedented. No one's ever done this before. And it's all because his numbers are going down. He says even the polls are corrupt. And sure, polls are not accurate. I actually don't believe the polls either. I think it's crazy that it's even close. Hillary should be way ahead. Or in other words, Donald Trump should be far behind. And I looked into betting money on this election because I'm so sure of this. I bet last time, 4 years ago, I took advantage of the Romney bubble. And that's where Republicans just believed in all the bullshit they heard on Fox News and on the radio. And they were willing to bet money on his win. And I took their money. That was on intrade.com, which is now shut down for U.S. citizens. They made it illegal for us to gamble, but there are new ways of doing it now. But the odds are so bad it's not worth doing because Hillary is so favored. It's a 7-to-1 odds in her favor, which means you'd have to bet $700 to win 100. But if Trump should happen to win, you lose the 700. So those aren't good odds. You know, I'm not that sure in how uncorrupt our system is.
Do you make the same commitment that you will absolutely, sir, that you will absolutely accept the result of this election?
I will look at it at the time. I'm not looking at anything now. I'll look at it at the time.
But, sir, there is a tradition in this country. In fact, one of the prides of this country is the peaceful transition. Are you saying you're not prepared now to commit to that principle?
What I'm saying is that I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
Go and watch these polling places. I hear too many stories about Pennsylvania, certain areas. And we can't lose an election because of you know what I'm talking about. Oh!
Do you know what he's talking about? I'm not sure. I want to see if you know. Of course, I've heard the speculation. When Republicans talk about certain areas, they're talking about certain people.
If nothing else, people are going to be watching on November 8th.
And now we know who's going to be in charge of that watching to oversee their election protection efforts. The Trump campaign has reportedly hired a guy named Mike Roman, who's best known as the conservative activist who promoted the Fox News conspiracy theory that those two homelessy guys from the new Black Panther Party somehow stole the whole election in 2008.
Two guys standing in front of a polling place for an hour, one of them holding some stick, and Republicans made a huge deal out of that. So yeah, we've always had a little fraud, but never a lot on election day.
This whole election is being rigged.
And why is it that suddenly we'd have a lot of it on election day, now that Trump is running?
It's rigged like you've never seen before.
And how is it that he's able to make this prediction?
The whole thing is one big fix. Our system is rigged.
One thing you can't rig is the words of a wife.
Allegations should be handled in a court of law. And without evidence, no matter who it is, a man or a woman, somebody without a man or a woman, it's damaging and it's unfair.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to make a major announcement. I would like to promise and pledge to all of my voters and supporters and to all of the people of the United States that I will totally accept the results of this great and historic presidential election if I win.
I don't doubt that if the fraud ends up being more against his opponent and he wins, then he'll overlook any fraud. If the fraud makes it to where he loses, then he will make a huge stink about it, throwing off our whole democratic process.
Half of the country right now not believing that our elections, our fundamental bedrock of our democracy, are real and believable. It's disgusting. It's reprehensible. Who does he think he is? Just go away. You're vile.
There's a reason everything is going wrong for Donald Trump. It's because he's a terrible man who's done terrible things and has a terrible plan for the country.
Simply put, Trump was never going to win this election. I could tell that early on when Trump was saying all these negative things about Latinos and women, because you need a lot of support from those two groups to win an election. After all the things he keeps saying, the support from those groups just keeps going down, as you would predict. And with him just being so extreme about things and appears to be unstable, he wouldn't win just because of that. You take 400 million people together, the candidates they end up choosing are kind of watered down and mainstream and moderate. He was never going to win. On the other hand, getting his supporters angry and telling them to watch the polls could create some dangerous situations. He is inciting and scheduling violent situations and confrontations, and that's at a polling place near you. So if what happened in Pennsylvania is rigging, then what his supporters might do on election day is the exact same thing. You see how he's operating? So let everybody know about this situation by sharing this video, giving it a thumbs up to boost it so more people will see it.
One of my first acts will be to get all of the drug lords. We're going to get them out. We're going to secure the border. Drug lords. The
guys were not in a good mood at all. I mean, he stood him up. What are chicken going to do with business? I'm not jumping into a bikini on a job interview. You do not like that. I'm not the biggest girl here.
The point is I'm loaded. Seriously. I've got crap loads of money. So I decided to take on a protege, disciple. You know, not very old person I can tell all my business secrets to. There's two of my top executives. There's Jamie Samuels. Don't let her good looks fool you. That woman's got a set of brass ones.
Winner of Trump's Miss Universe contest in 1996. Machado says she gained about 20 pounds. That's when she says Trump publicly shamed her.
One of the worst things he said was about a woman in a beauty contest. He loves beauty contests.
Where did you find
her name?
Machado spoke of the names Trump called her.
And that explains why the two of them don't want to release their medical records. But I could also throw in mental health. I think that's even more important, especially in this election. Check out these comments about Trump's mental state.
Hello,
The guy has a chimpanzee-level understanding.
Yeah. Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
Meeting today with Henry Kissinger.
He said one stupid, reckless thing after another.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters. Bing, 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 bum, bum.
A fear of outsiders, intense nationalism.
I think this man is crazy.
Donald Trump is a fool.
He is free to be a fool. He is not free to be a dangerous fool on our shores.
Is a buffoon.
Repugnant.
Let's be clear, Donald Trump is an idiot.
Bonkers.